What if I told you that everything you've ever been taught about struggle, hardship, and, well, just grinding your way through life is completely wrong? Seriously, think about it. Imagine if life isn't this grueling, random battle of fate where you're just hoping to get lucky. What if instead it's actually a game? And even better, a game governed by a set of strict, completely learnable rules.
So if life really is a game, well, that means there's got to be a playbook, right? And in this explainer, we are going to crack open that exact playbook. We're talking about the ultimate rulebook for unlocking abundance, harmony, and joy, and literally mastering reality. To kick things off, everything revolves around one incredibly profound idea. According to your faith, be it unto you. This is the foundation of a spiritual classic from way back in 1925 by New Thought teacher Florence Scovel Shinn. In fact, our The Game of Life and How to Play It summary is really going to dive deep into her radical belief that we are not just victims of fate, we're actually co-creators of our destinies. Shinn calls this the law of expectation. Basically, the key idea here is that whatever you vividly imagine and expect with absolute certainty, that's exactly what you manifest. If you're constantly expecting fear and failure, well, that's what you're going to get. But if you expect miracles, like Shinn tells this amazing story of a woman who just wholeheartedly expected a miracle and boom, she received a gift that wiped out all her financial woes, life is responding directly to your inner game plan.
Okay, so rule one, wealth in spoken words. How exactly do we actually start playing this game to win? Let's dive into it.
It really comes down to a stark contrast between fear and faith. You see, fear and complaints, they act like boomerangs. You throw them out there and they come right back to smack you with misfortune. But faith and affirmations set all the good things in motion. Florence Scovel Shinn explains that our words aren't just idle chatter. They are literally wands of creation. She shares this fascinating story of a guy who just had the absolute worst luck, but he completely turned his life around just by flipping his vocabulary. He stopped complaining and actively started blessing his circumstances instead, and guess what? He landed a job almost instantly. You've literally got to watch your mouth. Affirm exactly what you want, not what you're terrified of. And that flows right into the law of prosperity. Shinn points out that wealth and prosperity naturally flow when we align ourselves with divine abundance. But the second you let doubt creep in, you block that flow. She has this great piece of advice: buy the coat before the money arrives. Now, she's talking about radical preparation here. You have to act as if the good thing you want is already on its way to show absolute unwavering faith. If you desperately want a new coat, you prepare for it before you even have the cash. It's all about shedding those limiting beliefs about lack and just trusting that the universe's resources are infinite. Moving right along, we hit Rule 2, non-resistance, karma, and forgiveness. Now, I know you've probably heard of karma, but Shinn merges it with forgiveness in a really unique way. Karma is basically this cosmic cycle of cause and effect, right? But she says it can only be broken by the power of love and forgiveness. In fact, she warns that actively fighting against your problems, resisting them, actually just magnifies them. Instead, she advocates for radical surrender. She shares this incredible anecdote about a deeply bitter client who felt incredibly betrayed, but instead of holding on to that grudge, which would just keep her trapped in a negative cycle, this woman actively affirmed peace and forgave the betrayal. And wouldn't you know it, soon after she fully reconciled with her enemy. Forgiveness is kind of like a boomerang of blessings that just frees us from our karmic debt. But how do you actually release that resistance? Well, Shinn gives us the ultimate mantra for it. I cast this burden on the Christ within, and I go free. This is all about handing over your heavy worries to a higher power, or what she calls the superconscious mind. There's a brilliant story in the book about a woman who was just completely drowning in debt. Instead of wrestling with her financial nightmare, she just repeated this exact phrase, letting the universe do the heavy lifting for her. And almost effortlessly, real solutions just began to unfold. It is an absolute masterclass in keeping your faith when you're under pressure. And that brings us to Rule 3, intuition and divine design. This is where your personal growth is really going to accelerate.
Think of intuition as your inner compass in this game of life. Shinn heavily urges us to trust those sudden hunches from the infinite. She gives a fantastic example of a guy who went out and bought a stove on a complete whim. Logically, it made zero sense at the time, but later on, he found out it was the exact perfect fit for his new home. You see, we have to learn to quiet our minds and just listen, because while logic usually shouts, intuition only whispers. Those little nudges, they're a direct hotline to divine wisdom.
And trusting that intuition leads you directly to your divine design, or your perfect self-expression. Try affirming, I am now in my perfect place. Everyone has a unique purpose, And the game is won when you actually step into it and fulfill it. Shinn stresses that patience is way more effective than trying to force outcomes. For instance, she talks about a woman looking for work who just consistently affirmed that she was already in her perfect place. By simply trusting her divine design, she landed a job that was quite literally tailor-made for her specific talents. Your role in life is already scripted. You just have to step into it.
So how do we put all this together? Well, that brings us to step-by-step reprogramming.
Shinn lays out an exact 3-step formula for shifting your mindset and really mastering your own self-improvement. Step 1, deny the negative. You have to firmly reject those false beliefs. Step 2, affirm the positive. Claim the good that is rightfully yours. And step 3, sit back and watch reality shift. This right here is the practical framework for conscious creation. There's a ridiculously powerful story in the book about a mother who used this exact formula. Her child was very sick, and the mother vehemently, stubbornly denied the illness in her mind, choosing instead to intensely affirm health. And by following those steps, her child completely healed. It's basically a crash course in the mental mechanics of literally reshaping your world.
All right, it's time for the main lessons and practical application. Because, going through a book summary is one thing, but how do we actually apply these key ideas to our daily modern struggles? Like burnout, or crushing debt, or even just difficult relationships.
Here are the core life lessons you absolutely need for lasting success. Number 1, speak with purpose. Remember, your words are literal wands. 2, trust divine timing. Seriously, stop trying to force outcomes. 3, imagine success vividly and prep for it. Buy the coat before the money even arrives. 4, forgive others to break your karmic debt. 5, listen to your inner compass. Pay attention to those quiet little hunches. 6, cast your burdens and let go of all that heavy lifting. And finally, number 7, always expect the best. This is your playbook for true, foundational personal transformation. Whether you're looking for healing or a deeper purpose or success in your career, these are the universal rules.
The absolutely crucial takeaway from all of this is simply this: the mind is the architect of reality. In our crazy, fast-paced modern world, these teachings from 1925 honestly matter now more than ever before. Reclaiming agency over your life, that doesn't just happen by chance. It happens through conscious creation. Mastering your mind is the absolute key to lasting transformation. You've got to expect the best, align your words with your goals, and just allow the transformation to naturally unfold.
Because the real challenge isn't just knowing these truths, it's actually living them out every single day. Life is a game. And now, you've got the rulebook. The profound question that Florence Scovel Shinn leaves us with, and honestly the one you need to ask yourself right now as you step out to shape your reality, is simply this: how will you play?